If you struggle with wrist and forearm tension, here are a few techniques that may be helpful for you. Let's start with some range of motion. Begin moving your wrist in different directions to establish a baseline of where your restrictions and mobility lie. First, we'll address the wrist extensors between the wrist and the elbow. So we'll use the flat of our opposite thumb for this. Wrap your fingers around your forearm and use the flat of your thumb to compress in and gently glide from side to side across the extensors. It will feel a little bit like strumming across guitar strings. Next, we'll address the bellies of the wrist extensors, just below the elbow. Using either your full palm or just your fingers and thumb, anchor your fingers on one side and your palm or thumb on the other. Squeeze and pull upwards on the muscle tissue. Imagine pulling these muscle fibers apart, creating softness and suppleness in through this area. Next, we'll address the band of tissue that stretches across and anchors over the tendons of the forearm extensors. Use 3 fingers and stretch up towards your elbow just a couple of inches. As you do this, flex your wrist so that fingers fall downwards. Then we'll do the opposite side of the wrist, and you'll move the wrist in the opposite direction. Finally, we'll address the forearm flexors. First, tap out your ulnar bone. Then fall into the flexor muscles just next to the ulnar bone with the heel of your hand. You can squeeze with fingers on the opposite side. Add a little range of motion for some extra release. Let's end our sequence with some stretching. Stretch your wrist away from you so that your fingertips fall towards the floor. Use your other hand to pull the fingertips towards your body so that you feel the stretch on the palm side of the forearm. Then flip your wrist over so the back side of your hand is facing away from you, and use the other hand to stretch again. This time you should feel it through the forearm extensors. Test out your range of motion after you're done and see what has changed.